Spreading love one cake at a time, Nyam Nyam brings you a chocolate explosion drip cake with a perfectly moist chocolate cake base, chocolate buttercream and a chocolate ganache glaze, topped with your favourite chocolates. This chocolate-loaded cake is every chocolate lover's dream. Let's get started. First you need a 400-gram bar of dark chocolate, and we're going to cut that up into small pieces. Next, we're going to add 200 millilitres of whipping cream to a pan and let it bubble away on the stove. Then we're going to pour that hot whipping cream onto our broken chocolate pieces and whisk away until it's all dissolved. And there we have our chocolate ganache. Next, we're going to get our chocolate sponge cake. We're going to cut it in half and on the first layer add our chocolate ganache. On our second layer, we're going to put some buttercream chocolate. Spread that all along the top and around the sides, completely covering our cake. Smooth it over if you wish, then add our chocolate ganache around the edges, creating a drip down effect and over the entire top. Smooth that over. And time to add your favourite chocolates. Ferrero Rocher, Maltesers, Toblerone, even an Oreo cookie or two. Why not cut them in half? Absolutely delicious and super fast and super easy to make. Would not mind a slice of that. Indulge in this yummy chocolate Earl mousse cake with Nyam Nyam. The decadent mousse cake is infused with Earl Grey tea and chocolate, giving it a perfect balance of flavours. It is a definite treat for both tea and chocolate lovers. So let's get started. You need 150 grams of sweet chocolate cut into pieces. In a separate bowl, add 20 grams of cocoa powder and pour in 20 millilitres of hot water. Give it a stir until it's nicely mixed together. We'll put that aside, and meanwhile we'll put 350 millilitres of milk into a pot and heat it on the stove on a medium flame. Once that starts bubbling away, we turn the heat off, and then we're going to add 3 bags of Earl Grey tea. Just push them down so that the flavours come out in the milk. We're going to soak them for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, we'll remove our tea bags and add 300 millilitres of heavy cream, 40 grams of sugar and 40 grams of condensed milk to give it that beautiful sweetness. Turn the flame on again and stir it. Now, it's time to add our cocoa mixture. The one we made earlier, we're going to pour that in and give it another stir, making sure it's nicely mixed together. Now, add our 150 grams of sweet chocolate that we also chopped earlier. And once that's nicely mixed, we're going to turn off the heat. And finally, we're going to add 15 grams of gelatin. This is what's going to help it to set into that mousse-like texture. We remove that from the heat and pour it through a sieve into a bowl. We're going to use a sieve to get out any extra little pieces which didn't quite mix in earlier. Now that bowl we're going to put into a bigger bowl with ice water. While it's cooling, we're going to give it a stir. See how that's changed colour? When it's a light brown colour, we're going to remove it from the ice water and pour it into our cake mould. Our cake mould has been coated with a sheet of baking paper, which is going to completely cover our mousse cake. We're going to refrigerate that for 1 hour. Once it's ready, we remove it from the refrigerator, turn it upside down onto a tray or a chopping board and gently remove the baking paper, leaving a smooth texture on top of our mousse cake. Peel off the ends. Why not sprinkle some cocoa powder on top for a finishing touch? Look at that. A delicious looking chocolate and tea mousse cake. A perfect combination of flavours, perfectly balanced, gorgeous French mousse texture. Why not have a slice with a cup of Earl Grey tea or even a hot chocolate? To make Nyam Nyam's delicious chocolate mousse brownie, all you need is a mixing bowl with 250 grams of brownie mixture and 2 eggs. Add 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract and 200 millilitres of melted butter to that. Whisk until smooth. An electric whisk will make the process nice and fast for you. Now we're going to add 100 grams of chocolate chips into that. We're using dark chocolate chips, but you can take your pick. Once that's ready, we're going to pour it into a baking tray, using baking paper to avoid sticking to the sides. Smoothing it over so as to even it out, ready to go in the oven. We're going to bake that at 180 degrees for 30 minutes. Meanwhile, get 250 millilitres of whipping cream in another mixing bowl with 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract and 100 grams of icing sugar. Whisk that up until it starts to thicken. Once that's nice and thick, we're going to add in 200 grams of melted dark chocolate. I'm getting hungry already. Whisk that up. And there you have it. Voila, your chocolate mousse mixture. Now that gets poured over the top of our chocolate brownie, which has come out of the oven and cooled slightly. Nice and generous dollop of that, and again smoothing it over with a spatula. We're going to chill that now for 2 hours. And there you have it, chocolate mousse brownie. So simple and so delicious. Who would have thought? Which bit would you like? How about this part? Gorgeous chocolate brownie and soft silky mousse. And a strawberry and a raspberry and a blueberry on top, sliced in half for a finishing touch. Delicious. Nyam Nyam brings you an easy-to-make, no-bake, triple-layer chocolate cheesecake with some easy ingredients. This rich and creamy cheesecake is fully loaded with chocolate ganache, cocoa powder and pistachios. Let's get started. All you need is 120 grams of dark chocolate cut into pieces. Melt that slightly in a bowl and add 50 millilitres of heavy cream. Mix that together and we have our chocolate ganache. Put that aside. Now we add 200 grams of cream cheese to a mixing bowl with 15 grams of sugar, 30 millilitres of milk. Whisk that away. We gradually add ingredients and give it a mix each time. Now we're going to add half a tablespoon of lemon juice and 5 grams of melted gelatin. Give it another mix, making sure it's a smooth-like consistency, and then add 120 millilitres of heavy cream and mix once again. Perfect. Now we have our main cream cheese mixture. And for the first layer, we're going to add 185 grams of cream cheese batter. We're going to pour that straight into our baking tin, which has been coated in baking paper to make sure that the cheesecake doesn't stick. Smooth that over. Make sure to fill all the corners and then refrigerate for 15 minutes. Now in a clean bowl, we're going to add 130 grams of the cream cheese batter with 60 grams of chocolate ganache. Stir it until it becomes a light brown colour. This is going to make our second layer. So we're going to pour this on top of our white cheese layer and smooth it out so it's nice and even. Then we're going to put it back in the fridge for another 15 minutes. In a clean bowl, get 115 grams of cream cheese batter and 100 grams of chocolate ganache. Stir it together, making a dark brown colour this time. This is going to be poured on top of our already set 2-layered cheesecake and smooth it over as usual. Now we just refrigerate that for 15 minutes, and meanwhile we're going to get a pot and add 50 grams of sugar, 20 grams of cocoa powder and give it a whisk. We're going to also add 20 millilitres of water, 140 millilitres of heavy cream. Turn on the heat to a medium flame and stir away whilst it's heating on the stove. Heat it until it starts to bubble away and then you can turn the heat off. Add 60 grams of chocolate to that mixture, 2 grams of gelatin and whisk it away until the chocolate has melted and the gelatin is nicely mixed in. Now our cheesecake is ready. Take the baking tray away and remove the baking paper, leaving a smooth layer, and pour on our cooled chocolate ganache mixture. Now make sure you do this over a baking tray. Let the chocolate ganache mixture drip down. Now on top of that, we're going to put a thin strip of paper across the middle of the cake and sprinkle cocoa powder over the entire surface of the cake. When we've done that, we can remove our strip very carefully and add our pistachios to the middle of the cake. It's the small things that make all the difference. So if you want a professional looking and absolutely delicious triple layer chocolate cheesecake without any baking, then this is the recipe for you. Cheese and chocolate. What more could you want? Hello and welcome to Nyam Nyam. Want to make this fantastic custard chocolate cake? All you need is 250 grams of chocolate cake mix, 3 eggs, 30 milliliters of oil, 50 milliliters of milk whisked together in a mixing bowl. Pop that into a lined cake tin. Tap to spread and bake at 180 degrees for 30 minutes. In a pot, add 30 grams of corn flour, 200 grams of sugar, give it a mix and then add 200 milliliters of milk, 3 egg yolks and mix together. Turn up the heat and keep stirring until the mixture has thickened. Then turn the heat off, add 20 grams of butter and 10 grams of melted gelatin. Mix that all together and your custard is ready to pour on top of your chocolate cake. Smooth it out and refrigerate for 2 hours. Once set, you can slice it. Now we have 4 rectangular cakes. Time to pour the melted chocolate on top. Let those chill. And meanwhile, in a mixing bowl, add 250 milliliters of whipping cream and 20 grams of chocolate powder. Whisk those together until thickened. Pop that in a piping bag and pipe on to decorate your chocolate custard cakes. Adding a gold leaf for a finishing touch. And there you have it, custard chocolate cake. Delicious perfection. Enjoy your custard chocolate cake. Yum! Hello and welcome to Nyam Nyam. Look at this Nutella chocolate cake. Start with a basic chocolate cake cut into a rectangle and pipe on white buttercream. Layer it up. Then refrigerate for 15 minutes and once it's slightly set, you can carve the shape of your jar. So it looks a bit like this. Now cover the entire thing in white buttercream. And smooth it out. Refrigerate for a further 15 minutes and meanwhile roll out white fondant icing into a sausage shape. Flatten it out using a rolling pin. And slice off a strip. Tidy it up. and use a tool to make indents all the way along. Lovely. Pop that up a bit. And get a large piece of fondant icing, white again. Roll it out so it's still quite thick, and use a cookie cutter to cut out a circle. Now get your strip and wrap it around, trimming off the excess. That's going to be our lid. Now get your cake and wrap brown fondant icing all around it, removing the excess and pressing it down using your fingers. Next, get a fairly large piece of white fondant icing with the logo on it and wrap it around the jar. Just press it down at the back. And finally, pop the lid on. Brilliant! And there you have it, Nutella chocolate cake. Why don't you trick your guests? They're gonna love it! Enjoy!